Hello to you. We are so glad that you are a member of the Tierra Resource Circle and that you're choosing to take some time for yourself to participate in this guided inquiry about alignment, you know, about having that experience in life where you feel you feel good about how you handled something. You feel like, yeah, the choices I made really are an expression of my values, of what I care about, of the quality of relationships I have want to have with people, of what's in my heart. So I'm bringing you a new Tiara tool that's designed to support you in recognizing what it looks like in your life when alignment is present and when it's not. And then also, how can you nurture alignment in your life? Now, alignment isn't about being perfect. No one is in alignment 100% of the time. That's not the point. But what if we were more aware of alignment as something to pay attention to that is helping us direct our being, our behavior, our actions in a way that are more likely to produce results that work for us and work for others. It makes life easier. It makes relationships easier when I am deeply in touch with myself on the inside and act accordingly. So I am Allison Miller. I'm a global partner at Terra International, and I'm happy to take you through a short internal journey on alignment. So there are a lot of ways that we can explore what it means to live in alignment. And today, let's here in this time we have together, let's focus on the in the body experience of alignment. Alignment as an embodied experience of coming home to yourself, to making contact with what's deeply true for you, and allowing that truth to guide and shape your words, your choices, your actions, your way of being, and the influence you have out into the world. So this is about feeling and going deeply inside yourself, like really inside yourself deeply. Embodied alignment is inviting you to get quiet inside yourself. Shh, listen, dropping down, kind of quiet. Think about that. Just take a moment right now and just see that you can get a little bit quiet inside yourself. You can reclaim your capacity to tenderly feel deeply into the truth of what you are experiencing in any given moment in your body, in your heart. I really do believe that we have to feel into the heart to be able to live in this experience we call alignment. Alignment is also about opening yourself to fully receiving and honoring what it is that you feel is true. Oftentimes in life, we start to have an instinct of, you know what, this thing that happens in this relationship, yeah, that's not working for me anymore. And we have to find a way to speak about it to the other person where we're deeply honoring ourselves and the other person. Alignment is born from deep contact with your truth and the willingness to move through life informed by that truth. In our modern lives now, where there's so much to distract us, so many demands, often we feel such pressure to perform. It can be very easy for the pressure and the stress and the never-ending demands and the multitude of places you can put your attention on your phone and on streaming and all the other things that we have access to in your email, etc. Wow, that can really, we can be overly informed in our actions and our behavior and how we lead by the pressure and the demands and the distractions rather than what's deeply inside of ourselves. So living in alignment is, again, it's about being deeply intimate with and honoring your truth. When you prioritize alignment, you are naturally moved to operate in a way that you experience as deeply self-honoring. You're honoring this very vulnerable human being that you are, recognizing that a lot of things in life are challenging and difficult, and our best way through it always begins with self-honoring. And when you live your life in a way that deeply honors the self and the truth of the self, it will deeply honor others as well. So let's get familiar. Let's get into this tool and get familiar with what it looks like when alignment, the experience of having our internal and external environments line up, when that's present. And let's get familiar with what's going on when alignment has gone missing. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull up this Tiara tool here for you, and you can follow along with me. Okay. So here in this first box, we want to think about, what does it look like, even what does it feel like when alignment is present in your life in a given moment? So take all the time you need. Please feel free to hit pause. I'm going to ask you a few more questions, and then take the time you need to really flesh out for yourself. What does it look like? What does it feel like when alignment is present in your life in a given moment? When you are aligned, when you're self-honoring, how do you feel? What kind of behaviors do you engage in? What kind of attitude do you have? What's the energy and the vibration you give off? What are the results? Maybe there's some kind of flow or peace. Might be easier to get along with other people. Feel in touch with instincts and wisdom about how to respond to challenges. Maybe you feel more relaxed, more trusting. Maybe your results are better. And then when you're ready, let's go to the second question, the second box here. What does it look like? What does it feel like when alignment is not present in a given moment? How do you feel? What kinds of behaviors do you engage in? When alignment has gone missing, what kind of attitude do you have? What's your energy like? What are the results? So just take the time you need. All right, so what is going on? What's going on when alignment is not present? So this Tiara tool is focused on understanding how the natural imperatives of our brains can lead us off course, but also be used to help us get back on course. So we have 3 primal imperatives wired into our brains, and they are designed to support our survival. They are imperatives. They are required to be wired into us to keep us alive. And they are to avoid pain, to approach reward, and to secure attachment. So these 3 imperatives, they are primal, wired in. Your body, your psyche will find a way to make certain that those needs are met, because we're wired to meet them, because that is what is equated with survival wired into our system. And whether we meet these imperatives, these needs, consciously or unconsciously, has a big impact on being able to experience meaningful alignment in your life. All right. Sometimes as human beings, we get hijacked by these imperatives when we move into kind of an autopilot mode, desperate to meet those needs. We're not consciously planning this, it's just taking over. So take a moment now and think about for yourself what happens to you when it feels like there's some kind of threat of pain, there's some kind of loss of reward, there is, or denial of reward, and when there is some kind of threat to having a secure attachment. So here in this box, I'd like you to consider when these needs hijack you, when they take you over, what kinds of behaviors do you engage in? These are typically behaviors that after we do them, we would look back and say, that did not feel like it was in alignment. So when you're avoiding pain, what's happening? Are you procrastinating, avoiding a conversation, not speaking your truth, saying yes when really you don't want to make the commitment? Are you approaching reward with mindless scrolling on your phone through social media? That's not very satisfying, but it kind of just feels like a little bit of a relief from something else you're doing that's very difficult. Are you doing the just one more episode of Netflix, snacking when you're really not actually hungry? What are ways that the autopilot need for reward takes possession of you? How do you secure attachment when you're hijacked? Do you demand connection from others? Are you overly attentive to text messages, phone calls, and emails? Are you putting up with a relationship that's really not serving you well and making you very unhappy? Just take some time. This can be hard to acknowledge, but it's important that we begin to be able to recognize when are we being pulled out of alignment because these needs are unconsciously trying to be met. You are hijacked by the need to meet them. Now, these drives, they will not go away, right? They are primal. Embodied alignment requires that we honor these primal needs as primal and find ways to deliberately, consciously meet them. They're going to be met one way or another. Why not wake up our capacity to consciously attend to our needs? And the reason I keep saying they're primal is because I want you to understand they're legitimate. It's completely legitimate. It's honorable, in fact. Of course, you'd want your system to avoid pain, approach reward, and secure attachment. Those actually help with our survival and obviously with the quality of our life. So without judging yourself for your true primal needs, the next part of this journey is to identify ways we can consciously meet the needs of these imperatives, that we can honor ourselves. So for example, if you find yourself avoiding an important project because it feels too big, you're avoiding the pain, right? Or the reward of accomplishment is too far off. Find ways to break down that goal into small assignments, humane assignments, and surrender your focus to one task at a time. That's much less painful for you with more opportunity for reward. Right? You'll have that reward of completing tasks more frequently. Build in time for pleasure and learn to compassionately care for yourself when you experience pain. And if you keep sending emails and texts to form secure attachment when you need to be working on your own, you could, for example, find ways to integrate breaks to connect with others throughout the day. And when you prioritize getting the contact you need with others, you can satisfy that primal need for secure attachment that really is wired into us and so incredibly important. So take the time that you need now to be in an inquiry about how can I consciously meet the needs of these imperatives, which really is fundamentally self-honoring. How can I self-honor given that I have these primal needs wired into me? What would that be for you? Being kind and non-judgmental of yourself, asking for help, planning my days with great care that supports my engagement with my work while also giving me space for rest and pleasure and celebrating progress, connecting with others, asking for support when I need it so that I don't act out my need for attachment, but rather make clear, conscious requests so that other people can participate in helping me meet my needs. See, once these survival needs, these survival imperatives are met at the basic level, you can guide the natural force behind these imperatives to a higher level of fulfillment, right? So if we go down here to the bottom, now we're moving into thinking about how can we harness the power in these imperatives to go beyond ourselves, to really feel that sense of deep fulfillment and purpose of my life wasn't just about me meeting my needs, but I was also here in a way where I recognize the shared brain imperatives that are wired into all of us. When we begin to harness the power of imperatives, you can experience things like going beyond the situational pleasure and really seeking to live in a way where there's a deep joy of living your purpose. The concern about avoiding harm for oneself becomes avoiding harm to anyone. The desire to form connection goes beyond your tribe of like-minded others to embrace all of humanity as a family. So just imagine now you've been honoring the brain's imperatives as legitimate needs and consistently supporting yourself to get those needs met. Now, imagine yourself harnessing the power of these imperatives to go beyond yourself, to influence and impact the world in a way that feels in alignment with your truth. Just how you would kindly attend to yourself and honor what's true for you, that you would also recognize that all human beings want to experience the same thing. Right? So you're harnessing the power of these imperatives to go beyond yourself, to influence and impact the world in alignment with your truth. Let yourself imagine what that would look like. What would it be like if you were harnessing the power behind these imperatives? So you can go ahead and write down in this last set of boxes here, what might it look like, right? Would it look like you delivering service in a highly client-centered way that compassionately is aware of the client's pain points? Would you advocate for others? Would you celebrate and acknowledge others more? Find ways to reward people? Find ways to encourage people to experience pleasure themselves? Would you support others to feel safe, secure, honored, respected? Create an ecosystem in which the people that you work with are able to engage with each other over the weeks, months, and years of working together in a way where people don't question their safety. They don't question whether they belong or are acceptable. Secure attachment is really a lot about belonging. And when we can go beyond the self, we can begin to think about how do I create in the environments that I'm in a feeling for myself and others that we belong. That's an example of harnessing the power of the imperative. It goes beyond just me desperately needing to feel that there's a secure attachment to me recognizing that I actually, as a leader, have the capacity to create a felt sense of secured attachment for all around me. Well, so fun to lead you through this and to inquire into it myself. One thing I want to you to walk away with today is one of the definitions of alignment is a position of agreement or alliance. And I just love that. I love the idea of alignment is, in a sense, having an alliance with yourself, that you're deeply connecting inside yourself so that you can align with yourself. And alliance is really a form of union, that we have a union. You're nurturing a union with yourself. You're consciously meeting your basic needs, as your basic needs are prioritized. Think about what that would be like in your life if your basic needs of avoiding pain, approaching reward, and securing attachment, that those basic needs were deeply honored and you were consciously making an effort to meet those needs. You're prioritizing that. Because then when those needs are met, you can really turn your attention to listening deeply to your truth and leading your life in a way that honors that truth, right? On behalf of yourself and others. So alignment is not a destination where you achieve alignment in some permanent sense. As far as I can tell, not at all. But rather, it's a dynamic, embodied experience where we find ourselves in and out of alignment in any given moment. So it's important to remember that every moment of life where alignment is missing is just simply an opportunity to care for your needs, feel into your truth, and act accordingly, right? Life is just an ongoing alignment training ground. So thank you so much for engaging with this Tiara tool. We hope that you will continue to use the variety of Tiara tools of the Tiara Resource Circle to support yourself as the leader of your life. And we so appreciate you being a member of our community. Look forward to the next time I make you a new Tiara tool.